Welcome to our episode on healing. This time we're going to be talking about Qigong, Tai Chi, traditional Chinese medicine. We've covered a number of areas of health and healing and good living and proper eating, and really going back to the very basics that you might even say are the fundamentals that defined every other system that we are familiar with today. We go back to the old traditional Chinese medicine and Qigong. Qi being energy, Gong being work, and for everything you could possibly need to know to awaken your interest, not in order to know all about it, we have here today with us Blaise Ryan, who is a registered acupuncturist, a traditional Chinese medicine
practitioner.
Yeah. I was going to say expert, but I guess you're too humble to accept that, so I knew that. And also he teaches Qigong here in Aylmer. Unfortunately too far for us, but who knows, with a little bit of interest awakened by today's program, perhaps we'll manage to find some roots for ourselves in Rockland. So Blaise, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us about this.
Well, thank you for coming, Kat.
It's a long way, but well worth it. So Blaise, let's start by just, if you wouldn't mind telling us how you came across Qigong. You are not Oriental. It's not something you were born into, presumably?
Yes, no, I wasn't born into it. I came across it, I guess, about 17 years ago, actually, when I started studying traditional Chinese medicine. I went to school in Nelson, BC at the Academy of Classical Oriental Sciences, and it was a 4-year program that was modeled after the Beijing curriculum. So in that curriculum, it included Qigong training throughout the whole 4 years. And it would, the first year was like the basics, and then we built on that every year, so that in the final year we could teach it. And we could instruct our patients specifically, because Qigong is like the original physiotherapy. It's what was used to help people keep their bodies open, their joints mobile, and keep their whole system healthy for thousands of years in China. Mm-hmm. I actually started my interest in health long before that. I began meditating when I was a teenager, and I started doing some practices, ceremonies with some of the local indigenous leaders in the area. So quite young, I got an interest in that kind of world. And my uncle, who lives in Boston, is actually a 6th-degree black belt in Aikido. And Aikido is a Japanese martial art, which is known as the way of peace. But the word ki in Aikido is the same word as chi in Qigong. So he's the first one who told me what Qi or Qi actually is when I was very young. Mm-hmm. I think when I was a young teenager, he told me about this. And as a teen, I also began studying karate. And in karate, there's reference to the Qi as well. So I found this very interesting, and I tried to read up on it when I was a teenager about this Qi, about this energy. But it just kind of stimulated an interest, and years went by. Finally, when I studied Chinese medicine is when I began actually practicing it regularly. And since after those initial 4 years, I studied with other masters around the world. And then when I moved back to this area, because I'm originally from the Ottawa Valley, I began teaching it, just to help spread awareness about it and show people how these simple exercises can help their health, both physically and mental health.
I think that's so important to emphasize that point of simple exercises. Mm-hmm. And how much you get out of them.
Yes, yeah.
There is very little in our world today that is simple, and there is very little in our world today that benefits as much.
That's right.
So that is one of the most captivating things to me about Qigong. Traditional Chinese medicine, perhaps not so simple.
Yeah.
The reason why it's 4 years.
Yeah. Well, that's the beauty with Qigong, is the simplicity in it. But in the mid or late 90s, the Chinese government commissioned a study to basically record all the different styles of Qigong in China. And they came back with over 10,000 different Qigong systems. And So a lot of these systems aren't simple, actually. They can be very, very complex series of movements or forms and quite complicated. But I've found, and I've studied quite a few of these complicated forms. I've studied probably 20, 30 different systems of Qigong over the years. But I always return back to the most simple practices in my own practice, the one that I do at home every day. And I just found that the effects, the benefits on the body, on the mind, are just that much greater with the simple exercises. And so that's usually what I teach in my classes too, because if I can teach something simple to someone, then they might actually remember it.
Yes.
And I believe that Qigong, it's a part of our heritage as being humans. It's something that is there for us to claim and to learn from. Because as you said, Qi means energy. It's a loose translation of energy, Qi. But really, to understand Qi, we understand that it's actually the energy that's created by connecting two things together. Specifically, two opposite polarities, right? The yin and the yang. Mm-hmm. So just like a battery has a negative and a positive end, if you separate the negative and positive, there's no energy in the battery, right? It's useless. Mm-hmm. Same thing in the body. If there's a disconnect between our yin and our yang, then there's not much energy. But if we can connect these two, then the energy can flow. And that energy is within us. You know, I tell my students all the time that we are batteries, we're energy machines. We have more than enough energy within us to heal ourselves of all kinds of things, right? To regain some of the lost health that we might feel has happened to us over the years. If our health is degraded, if our mobility is kind of degraded as well, if we find ourselves more stiff, we can't move as much, we can regain that if we can manage to unblock those things that cause the separation between the yin and the yang, mm-hmm. right? And then when we connect that, then the qi, the energy flows. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So going to the definition of qigong, the gong, as you said, means work, but it also means like the diligent practice of something, mm-hmm. right? So it means like the study of something, right? So gong is in China they refer to gong anytime you do work, but it's a mindful work, not just like a mindless work, right? Mm-hmm. So to do gong means that you put your whole mind into it, your whole heart and soul into your work, and you're really in it. Then that's considered gong.
So Qigong is not something you can do like when you're pumping iron and watching the news on TV.
No, definitely not, right?
That's just not there.
No, because actually in Qigong there's the three treasures in Qigong. And these three treasures I consider like the primary foundational theory behind Qigong. Mm-hmm. But it's like if we can understand these three treasures, it's like unlocking the door that allows us to create that unity between the yin and yang in our own bodies. Mm-hmm. Basically unifying our body. And the body is one of those treasures. But the other treasure is the mind. Okay? And then qi, which is the energy, is the third treasure. And qi is influenced by the breath in the body. Mm-hmm. Okay? And the mind, well, it's influenced by our focus, our concentration, right? Mm-hmm. And the body, we basically influence that through proper alignment. Mm-hmm. Okay? So if we need to unify the body with the mind, right, to get the benefits of Qigong. So doing the mindless type of exercise at the gym, if our mind is focused on the TV or on our social media or something else, then there's no connection there. So the qi isn't going to flow. And then people can get all kinds of issues with that, right? Long-term, unsupervised types of exercises, especially in the gym, can be very harmful for the body. Mm-hmm. In my practice of acupuncture, I see a lot of people come in with issues because they were exercising for extended periods of time, not properly, right? Not using their whole bodies. Or maybe they're just exercising a certain part of their body while another part of their body gets weak, right? And that can create an even greater imbalance, right? So they might get the result of, looking like magazine cover models, mm-hmm. but they're gonna suffer the consequence in their bodies in the long term unless it's a full balance type of exercise or workout.
And I think balance is a key word here because we are a perfect system.
Yeah.
And everything feeds everything else.
That's right.
So you need to keep the energy flowing and you need to learn how to do it.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, like I said, I think Qigong is part of our heritage as humans, but it's not something that is taught in our culture from a young age or even older ages. Sadly, yeah. Yeah. But now being, living in the world that we live in, we're lucky because, we can connect through the internet all around the world, and travel and immigration has created the result that there's experts and teachers of all kinds of interesting things everywhere, right? It used to be, just a couple of 100 years ago, you'd be lucky to find, one master in the whole province.
Yeah.
But now, there's people all over the place that know all kinds of good stuff, and so we can learn from them.
Well, it's always better to learn from a master, obviously, a teacher, because they recognize the things that you need, perhaps, or that you need to do differently. Another way is to learn from books, which is what I did. I learned from books, and I learned a great deal, but I know there's a lot missing.
Yeah, that's right. Well, books are fantastic to learn the theory about different things. Oftentimes in my classes, I don't have a chance to go that deep into the theory. I'll talk about a few things per class, but mostly we're working on exercises. But having a teacher there can be extremely beneficial because there can be just subtle shifts in your alignment that can make all the difference. As I talked about those 3 treasures, when we're working with the body, aligning the body so that our posture is balanced, so we don't have too much weight on our heels, which can create too much pressure on the lower back, and it can cause problems with our knees, even problems with our neck, right? Or sometimes people, they hold too much tension in their shoulders, right? Or maybe their neck is not properly aligned. So the simple shifts that I can see with my students, and I can guide them towards greater balance, maybe moving the weight forward a little bit, realigning the shoulders and necks. And then as soon as the joints align, then the circulation can flow. The qi can flow. But, without being that abstract about talking about qi, just on a purely physical level, the blood will flow better, the lymphatic system will flow better, the nerve conduction will work better, right? So the whole body benefits from oftentimes very minor shifts.
And the exciting thing is that it's to a large extent something you can do yourself. You do not need a practitioner to help you unless you've got serious problems.
Exactly.
In which case you do need to release those blockages, which is where your acupuncture comes in.
That's right, yeah, it can be very useful for that, yeah.
And the other benefit, of course, is eating properly, because improper nourishment, nutrition, can clog
That's right,
parts of your body.
Yeah.
We're going to have to take a break now. When we come back, perhaps we can have a few demonstrations of some very simple exercises, and then perhaps talk a little bit about nutrition, if that's all right with you.
Definitely, be happy to.
So please don't go. We'll be right back. So we're back now with some practical demonstrations of how qi can be made to move through your body in order to benefit you in specific particular ways. Blaise, perhaps you'd like to demonstrate a few of the basic exercises that you consider people should do just to loosen up their bodies and overcome that hump that so many of us have when we first start an exercise and start the exercise routine. And then perhaps talk about some of the systems that help us with our health in ways of perhaps boosting our immune system, which is so fundamental to today as we're all assaulted by so many bugs and microbes and bad energies, some coming from people, some coming from machinery.
That's right, yeah.
So,
okay.
If you'd like to demonstrate a few basic exercises.
Sure. So like I said, the important thing is to try to align the mind, the breath, and the body. Specifically with the body is the alignment of the body, right? So, and that's the idea, is with your mind, you want to focus on alignment, but try and keep your mind focused in the breathing and the movement, and to try and synchronize the breath with the movement. If you can keep your mind focused on that, then you got the mind covered. And with the breath, the 3 things you want to think about with the breath is to try and have an even breath, right? So it's, and consistent. So it's inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Most people in their everyday life, they inhale, hold, exhale, or they might exhale, hold, inhale. The majority of people do hold their breath quite a bit throughout the day.
I know.
And this can really deplete the body over time. It can reduce the energy in the body. And it does that in a very real way because it limits the oxygen throughout the body that the brain needs and the muscles need. So if you do that, if you hold your breath enough throughout the day, you can develop all kinds of health problems, fatigue, pains, chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, all kinds of different symptoms that have different names that associate with them. So the breath has to be deep, even, and consistent. Okay?
And the breath comes from?
It comes from the abdomen, that's right. So that's the very first thing I teach people, is the abdominal breath. Okay? So the idea with the breath is we want to keep our lips closed, gently closed. Okay? We use only the nose. Okay? And we can put the hands on the belly button or just below the belly button and try and keep the shoulders relaxed. You can do this standing or sitting. If you're sitting, you want to try and sit on the edge of your chair a little bit and have your feet flat on the floor. Okay? And then you inhale slowly and evenly through the nose. As you inhale, the lower abdomen expands. And as you exhale, the lower abdomen comes in, and you can feel to pull in your belly button a little bit towards the spine. Okay, so inhale, abdomen comes out. Exhale, abdomen comes in.
I'm already more relaxed.
Yes, good, good. So by keeping your hands touching the abdomen, you can feel whether it's expanding as you inhale, and as you exhale, you can actually pull the belly button in a little bit with the exhale. Okay? So, of course, when we inhale, we don't inhale from the abdomen. It's our lungs doing the inhaling. But so the only way that the abdomen can push out is if the diaphragm is fully pushing down, fully opening, which will allow greater space in the lungs, which will increase the total oxygenation in the body, right? Which is what creates more chi in the body. So that's the first thing, is that abdominal breath. So I usually recommend people, they can either start by timing it, by using their smartphone, so they don't have to look at the clock. So put a timer for maybe 2 minutes, 5 minutes, however long they want to do the abdominal breath. Or they can just count. When I say I'm going to do 10 or 20 of these breaths, okay? So that's starting with the abdominal breath. That's the next exercise that I recommend people to do is what I call is massaging the energy between the hands. Okay, so this, we bring our hands in front of us. It can either be at abdomen height or chest height. Doesn't really matter. We want to have our elbows either even with the sides of their body or forward a little bit, but not behind our body, because then the hands are too close to the body. So the elbows come out. And we want to have a little space in our armpits. So open the shoulders a little bit. Elbows come out, little space in the armpits. Now we use that same abdominal breath. As we inhale through the nose, the abdomen expands, and we open the palms, spread them apart. And as we exhale, the abdomen comes in, and we squeeze the palms together. And then we continue doing that. Inhale, spread them apart. Exhale, push them together.
I can feel the energy.
You start to feel some energy? Yeah.
Flowing through my body. It's amazing.
Good, good.
I feel healthier already.
Good. Excellent. Now, some people will feel an energy between their hands as they do this. And so I say to people, if you do feel that, then great. Try to feel that connection, and as you expand it, maintain that sense of connection between the palms. But if you don't feel anything, that's fine too. Then just imagine it. I've had some students practice with me for years, and they still can't feel anything between the palms. Other students come in first day, they've never done Qigong before, and they feel something. In fact, it doesn't really matter whether you feel it or not.
It's there.
It's there. It's happening. And one of the, as people practice Qigong, as you get deeper into it, one of the greatest pitfalls that a student of Qigong can fall into is getting too attached on the sensations in the body, the feelings in the body, okay? Because, especially the good feelings, it can be a time when someone's doing Qigong and they feel so good, they feel so great. Maybe they feel the energy flowing through the body, they feel a warmness in the body, and then they always try to strive for that. So they want to get that. And then their whole focus becomes on getting that thing, achieving that thing. But that's not what Qigong is about. Qigong is about a practice. It's about being in your body, regardless of the sensations, regardless of the feelings. Because if we get attached to the good feelings, we're going to equally be attached to the bad feelings, right? So the idea is that we don't want to be attached to feelings, the sensations in the body. We don't ignore them. And if we're feeling pain, we want to pay attention to those, because at no time when you do Qigong should you feel any pain. If you're doing any exercise and it's starting to hurt, then you should tone down, maybe readjust your posture, or maybe don't lift your arm as high or whatever part of your body, because if you feel any type of pain, your body's going to start to contract and flinch. And then that's going to be the opposite of having an open, fluid body.
Well, that's a check mark against no pain, no gain, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Right.
I say no pain, more gain.
Yes, I like that.
Yeah.
I vouch for that.
Yeah. So these are just simple things that people can start to practice. And the idea is to synchronize your breath with the movement, right? Okay. And that's where we bring those three treasures together. So we have the body and the alignment of the body being one treasure, the qi, which is connected with the breath, being the other treasure, and the mind, the focus of concentrating on that, being the third treasure. Mm-hmm. And if we can align these three treasures, we unify the body. And then when we unify the body, as I talked about, we create a strong battery and the energy flows. And the body is a self-healing mechanism. It's made to heal.
Yes.
If we cut ourselves, it goes to work without us telling it what to do.
Yes.
So usually we just have to step out of the way, mentally, our egos and who we think we are and our stresses about our lives and our stories. We have to just put that on the back burner and let the body do its thing, which is self-healing. Right? Mm-hmm. So the thing is when you start to do Qigong, or if you do anything which helps your body heal, whether it's nutrition or acupuncture, anything like that, the body will use that opportunity to heal itself in whatever way is best for it. Mm-hmm. So it's not always going to do exactly what you want it to do, what you think it should do, but it knows how to use that qi in the body in the best way possible for its own healing.
Speaking of healing, I do remember reading about how it's in the parasympathetic mode at rest that our body really heals.
That's right.
Hence the very great importance of resting.
That's right, yeah. So we have the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system is the part of the body that gets active when we're in the fight or flight reaction, right? So when we feel threatened or when we're stressed, when we have to do something, this means all the blood, all the energy goes into the nervous system, into the muscles, right? To basically do things in the external world. The parasympathetic is the system that's responsible for our sleep, for our digestion, all the internal functions of the body. So it's when we're at rest, right? When we're not stressed, the parasympathetic turns on, it's able to metabolize food and everything in the body heals itself, right? Okay. Unfortunately nowadays, because our society and our culture is geared so much towards stress, towards do, go, results, produce, then there's this type of pressure and stress on us that people can get locked into this sympathetic nervous system like a cycle. And it's just that they're constantly in it. And their bodies can't go into the parasympathetic. And you get people have problems like insomnia, anxiety, depression, mental problems, eventually fatigue and exhaustion will result of that. Inflammation in the body, which can lead to arthritis and allergic reactions, all kinds of issues as well can arise out of that. So if we can turn off that sympathetic nervous system and relax the body, the parasympathetic automatically turns on and it'll do its job to heal itself.
Brilliant. Now, perhaps you've mentioned so many things that can be healed through Qigong. Perhaps something that's of great and very pertinent and immediate interest to people is their immune systems. Oh. There are a few exercises for improving your immunity.
That's right, yeah. So the immune system, and this will allow us also to briefly touch upon nutrition, because we said we're going to do that.
We have 3 minutes left.
Okay, so with nutrition, the most important thing with the immunity is to avoid foods that increase inflammation in the body. Because inflammation will cause the immune system to break down, okay? So specifically avoiding excessive sugar, excessive wheat, too much coffee, and what we call hot types of foods. So alcohol, dairy and milk causes mucus. So these things clog the immune system. So this is like Qigong for the internal organs, how we eat, right? So it's important to eat clean. If people have allergies or their immune system is down, diet is a very important thing to focus on as well. For Qigong exercises, a couple of things. One is if you have sinus issues, you can use these two fingers, your index and middle finger here. First, before I do that, I rub my hands together, and this just warms them up, stimulates the qi and the energy. And then with these two fingers, I go on the forehead, nose, and on the cheekbones. These are like the sinus area, so the frontal sinuses.
Okay.
Right? So just rubbing up and down like that. Right? You can do that for quite a while. Then you can go around the eyes, especially if people have dry eyes or allergic reactions in the eyes. That's a great one. Also, they can tap the body. Okay, this is a very good way to stimulate the nervous system. Just below the elbow here, in the kind of meaty part right here, are some of the main immune points in the body. So what we want to do is tap. We can just tap these. Tap both sides like that, yeah. And we can also massage in there. So we take our thumb and try and find the tender points and just kind of get in there and kind of push. And if you find one point that's really tender, just keep massaging that. Okay. Also, right on the middle of the chest, there's the thymus gland, which is very important in the immune system as well. So you can tap that just with all three fingers like this, and just tap on there. Right? Another important area for the immune system is to help the hips open up too. Right? So by tapping the sides of the hips like this, right?
Okay.
And even right into the glutes.
Yeah.
These are very important immune points right there as well. And then one of the well-known points in the body right here is called a tiger's mouth, right here. In the meaty part between the thumb and forefinger, you can massage that. Great also for headaches and for any type of pain in the body. Tooth pain as well, it's a really good point for as well.
Wow, I can't believe that we're out of time already. But, I mean, if those of you who are listening are not absolutely intrigued by now and wanting to go out there and buy every single book and sign up for every single class, then you are obviously a phenomenon that I can't even address. But for the rest of us who are dealing with the everyday stresses and fears of pain and discomfort, I think we will find our answers in Qigong and in traditional Chinese medicine, and with kind and gentle teachers like Blaise. Not someone who intimidates us and makes us feel like we're really never going to get it because it's too complicated and it's only for the mysterious and enlightened. It's there for all of us.
That's right, it is.
So Blaise, thank you so much for whatever brought you to meditation and to this life journey, and for sharing it with us. And all I can say is I wish you weren't so far away.
Well, you're welcome to come to Elmer anytime.
Thank you very much. And for those of you who are interested in learning more, just look at the bottom of the screen and you'll see how to contact the Elmer
Qigong and Tai Chi.
Qigong and Tai Chi School, and send a message to Blaise and he will answer you and guide you along your way. Thank you, Blaise.
Thank you, Kat.